What is going on, guys? Snickel here, and today I have another 100% video for you guys. Today we're going to be getting the 100% in Discovery Tour Viking Age for the PlayStation 4. This is basically the Discovery Tour for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, the last trophy that we do have to get is the Discoverer, which is to complete all of the quests. The quests are just these little things that you can do throughout this game that are going to give you like background on what it was like to live during that time period and everything. It's basically what the Discovery Tour is. If you guys do go on to enjoy the video, be sure to give it a like. Let me know your thoughts on the game down in the comments below, and consider subscribing for more trophy content like this and hitting that bell notification to stay up to date on all of my new uploads. Anyway, with all of that being said, let's get right into this video. I was live streaming myself, getting this 100%. I do live stream basically every single game that I 100% in Platinum over on Twitch, so if you want to follow me, there's a link for that down in the description below. So again, this is the Discovery Tour for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It does have its own standalone list compared to how it was for, I believe, Assassin's Creed Origins, where they just did it as a DLC pack. And I am kind of a fan of that because it just gives a little more content in the game. Even though the game probably doesn't need more content because it's a huge game, it does give a little more content and a different trophy list for it. But essentially, all you have to do for this is just play through and do these quests that are basically going to be like what it was like to live during that time. You're going to be playing from one person's perspective, actually two people's perspective, but they kind of intertwine in a way. And then you're going to play what it's like to, you know, go to Valhalla and do all that stuff. So definitely a pretty interesting experience, and it's more Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, the good thing about this, if you aren't a fan of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, is that there is no combat in this, so you can kind of get through it pretty fast. Most of these quests take about 30 minutes or so, and I think there's about 8 of them, so it'll only take you a few hours to get through. You are going to have to do, like, quote-unquote collectibles. That's the other trophies and content throughout the game, and you'll see that I think I earn a few here as we're finishing up this last quest. But they're essentially things that you go up to, you just press a button. There's one right there. For some reason, they just, I don't know if they pop, like, during mission. I don't know what goes on with them, but, or during quests. I have no idea. They randomly were popping, and they weren't, you know, showing an image, so I don't know what was going on there, but there are collectibles, which, you know, kind of should be expected from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, sadly, but all you have to do is just walk up to these little, like, orb things, press triangle, and then you can back out right away. And they give you background on, like, what it was like during that time period and stuff, and then there's also developer content and things like that, so if you want to see, like, kind of how levels were made, or what history, you know, or what kind of history was looked into to create the levels, like things like that, that's all included in here. So it's some pretty interesting backstory or background information if you're into that kind of stuff. But all in all, it's essentially a walking simulator, if you want to be honest. There's no combat, there's no anything like that. You are able to parkour and do all of that stuff that you would normally be able to do in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but you don't take damage doing anything, which is kind of nice because you can jump from anywhere on the map and you don't die, and you can swim underwater and you can do everything. You can basically do everything that you do in Assassin's Creed Valhalla other than anything combat related. So doing any, you know, punching or using a bow and arrow or anything like that, you can't do any of that. But you can obviously ride animals, you can do anything else that you want to do, anything that your heart wants to do, you can do. I do think that the map is a little limited. They do show you the entirety of England and everything, but you aren't able to explore all of it, only what you're able to look at for those missions. They do kind of block it off, which is fine. I mean, that makes sense. You only go to certain parts in England. I think there's like 2 or 3 quests in the first area, and then you have, I think, like maybe 4 quests in the last area, and then you have 2 quests in, well, I think you have 1 quest in Jotunheim, maybe 2 quests in Jotunheim, and 1 in Asgard. I don't know. There's not that many quests. There's not that many quests. You should be able to get through this in like a day, maybe even less, honestly, because, or I shouldn't say less, a little more. Just, it depends on how fast you get through and if you're actually, like, paying attention to the quests that are going on, because you can blow through them if you want to. You can skip all the dialogue. You can basically do nothing, just blow through it as fast as possible. Or you can pay attention to the dialogue and kind of see what's going along with the story. The story, to me, a little dry. I mean, it is what it is, but it does kind of show what was going on in that time period, so I guess it's somewhat interesting, but again, kind of dry. And personally, I think I like the Discovery Tour from Assassin's Creed Origins more, because it kind of gave more of what it was like during that time period compared to this, where you're following one character around and, just dealing with what he's going through. So that's kind of, I guess there's good and bad to that, depending on, what you want to do or how you like to play your games. And personally, I'm more of a history buff, so I like to kind of just read about history and like what was going on during that time period and not really experiencing somebody's story while they're going through that time period. I think that's why I liked Assassin's Creed Origins, Discovery Tour a little bit more, because it focused on the history, and that was basically it. It was like raw history and not this like made up story of somebody that they were trying to recreate. So anyway, there we are. We finished it up. It's going to tell us thank you for playing it. So we're going to get our trophy there, the Discoverer. It's kind of weird to say. So there we go. It's 100%, no platinum or anything. So anyway, let's take a look at this list. So here it is, 100%, no DLC or anything. And as you're looking through the list here, you're going to see that there are trophies for doing all of these learnings, which are kind of like the collectibles that you'll do as you're going through the game. There's a few random trophies for doing a few quests, taking a picture in photo mode, and then one random trophy at the bottom for petting a cat, which you'll just naturally do as you're playing through one of the quests. Anyway, here's the profile. Trophy level 564, 43%, got 13,654 total trophies, got 9,198 bronze, 3,061 silver, 1,178 gold, 217 platinums, and like I said, 13,654 total trophies if you're into that numbers kind of stuff. Since there's no platinum trophy here, let's just talk about the game while we're watching some gameplay. So if you were a fan of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I would highly advise to get this. Now, it is going to cost you $20. It doesn't come with the season pass or anything, so you are going to have to pay for it if you do want to play it. But I would say for the experience that you get, I don't know if it's worth the $20. Probably better at like 10. But again, if you did like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, or you are into history, or you like this Norse mythology or like Vikings and stuff, I would definitely advise to get it. It was a fun little thing and game to play. I shouldn't say a thing, fun little game and experience to play, and definitely had fun playing through and kind of finishing up Assassin's Creed Valhalla, if that makes sense, because I had played Assassin's Creed Valhalla at launch. I had played all of the DLCs basically when they came out. I was getting a little drained out from the game just because of how long it was, and this was like basically like the cherry on top of the cake to be done everything, at least for Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the PS4. I don't know if they'll put out any more DLC on the PS4, or for the base game, I should say, on the PS4 and PS5, but this was kind of like the icing on the cake to be like done with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, hopefully on the PS4. So I did enjoy playing through, and like I said, I am kind of a history buff. I don't like read history stuff in my free time, but I am very intrigued by history and things like that, so I definitely did enjoy playing through this game and seeing some of the history and things like that. And you can see here I'm doing a little bit of the exploring that I was talking about, where you kind of just go up to the orbs and you just click them and you back out. You could do that if you want to. Most of these orbs you're going to pass as you're going through and playing the quest, so like you really don't have to explore if you don't want to, and you can always go back after the fact if you end up missing a few, so it's not the end of the world, and it's probably more efficient to just do it as you're playing through and doing the quests, I should say. So anyway, let's talk about some numbers here. So if I had to rate this 100% out of 10, I'm going to give this a 2 out of 10. Not really difficult at all. Honestly, like a 1 out of 10. The only reason I'm going to give it a 2 is because it does take a little bit of time to get through, and you may have to do some exploring and going out of your way. It's not really like, it does hold your hand, but it doesn't like give you everything. You do have to do a little bit of exploring in order to get it done. Time it takes to get the 100%, I would say probably anywhere between 5 to 10 hours, depending on if you're like blowing through cutscenes and things like that, and how fast you're getting around. You could probably do it less than 5, honestly, but I would say 5 to 10 hours is probably pretty safe for it, and definitely on the higher side. I don't know how it works if you want to auto-pop it. I'm not a fan of auto-popping anything. The only time I've ever auto-popped trophies is if I've done anything for, multiplayer or anything where I don't have the ability to. So I don't know how auto-popping works. I think you're able to do it because people beat it in like 30 or 40 minutes on PSNP. So I think it's possible, but I wouldn't advise it. So 2 out of 10, 5 to 10 hours, would highly advise it if you're, if you like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, if you like Assassin's Creed, if you like Norse mythology, if you like Vikings, if you like history, anything like that, I would highly advise and suggest it. And it's just a fun little game to play through, not stressful, and I enjoyed it. Anyway, if you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to give it a like. Check the description for all sorts of socials, my Twitter, my Twitch, other videos like this, Instagram, all types of things. If you want to go follow me on any of those, I would greatly appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts on the game down in the comments below. And if you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing for more trophy content like this. And I hope to see you all around sometime soon.